Success isn't something you wait for. It's something you walk toward, act like, and believe in long before it arrives. Most people have this backward. They think once they get the job, the money, the title, then they'll feel confident. Then they'll take bold steps. Then they'll show up like someone who matters. But the truth? You don't wait for success to give you permission to live like a winner. You act like it first. And that's what brings it to life. The most successful people in the world didn't start with proof. They started with belief. They carried themselves like professionals before anyone knew their name. They showed up early, they spoke with clarity, and they moved with certainty, even when they had nothing but a vision and a plan. And here's the key. When you act as if you're already successful, you begin to build the habits, mindset, and energy that actually attract success. Your actions start shaping your identity, and your identity creates your future. Today, I'm going to share with you the powerful mindset shifts that will help you step into the version of yourself that's already won. We'll explore how the world's greatest thinkers, athletes, and leaders use this principle to change their lives, and how you can do the same. So if you're ready to stop waiting and start becoming, you're in the right place. Stay with me for the next few minutes as I walk you through the mindset that turns belief into results. Let's dive in. Number 1, walk like you already own the goal. Before anyone will ever believe in you, you have to walk like someone who already believes in themselves. This is where success truly begins. Not in your resume, not in your credentials, but in your posture, your tone, and your quiet confidence. The world doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to how you carry yourself while you're working for it. You've probably seen people who haven't made it yet, but something about the way they move tells you it's only a matter of time. That's not arrogance. That's alignment. It's the confidence that comes from acting as if the victory is already theirs, even when no one else sees it yet. Think about Muhammad Ali, one of the greatest boxer of all time. Long before he ever stepped into a championship ring, he looked into cameras and said, "I am the greatest." He didn't say it because he had the belt. He said it because he believed it. And because he believed it, he trained harder, moved smarter, and spoke like someone who was destined to become what he declared. That mindset wasn't just part of the show. It was the foundation of his success. He walked like a champion, and eventually, the world caught up. That same principle applies to you. You don't have to wait for validation to start acting like a person of value. You don't need applause to speak with certainty. Start walking, talking, and thinking like the future version of you, the one who's already made it. Walk into rooms with presence, speak with clarity, even if your voice shakes a little at first. Dress with intention, not because you're trying to impress, but because you respect where you're going. When you walk like you already own the goal, people treat you differently, and more importantly, you treat yourself differently. This isn't about pretending, it's about preparing. It's about aligning your behavior with the outcome you expect. When you carry yourself with conviction, your mind starts to believe you're capable of more. And once your mind believes it, you'll find yourself making choices that reflect that belief. It becomes a cycle. You walk with confidence, which builds results, which deepens your confidence. So the next time you show up, whether it's to a job, a meeting, or even just a regular day, don't show up like someone hoping to succeed. Show up like someone who already has that energy. It changes everything. Number 2, speak into existence what you see inside. There is a powerful connection between the words you speak and the reality you create. Every thought you turn into language, every sentence you speak aloud is a seed planted into your future. Most people don't realize this. They speak carelessly about their limitations, their fears, their doubts. They joke about failing, they complain about the struggle, and they constantly reinforce the idea that success is somewhere far away. But the people who change their lives, those who rise above their circumstances, learn to speak with purpose. They talk as if what they desire is already unfolding. They speak into existence what they see inside, even when no one else sees it yet. Think of it like this. Your voice is a command to your subconscious, and your subconscious doesn't argue, it obeys. If you keep saying you're not ready, you'll find more reasons to delay. If you constantly say you're broke, your brain filters your options through scarcity. But if you begin to speak like someone who's building wealth, growing stronger, moving forward, your mindset shifts, your energy shifts, and soon your reality begins to shift as well. Take the story of Anna Lawson. She wasn't famous. She didn't have a title. She was just a quiet school teacher in a small Kansas town, but she had a vision. She believed that every child in her district deserved to read fluently by the end of 3rd grade. And instead of just hoping, she started speaking about it. She talked to other teachers, principals, and community members, as if the mission was already in motion. Her words carried weight, not because of her position, but because of her conviction. She didn't ask, "Can we do this?" She said, "Here's how we're going to do this." And that simple shift in language changed everything. Over time, resources showed up. Support arrived. Doors opened. Why? Because she spoke like someone who was already creating change. You don't need a stage to speak powerfully. You don't need millions of followers. You only need belief, backed by bold language. When you speak your vision regularly, with clarity and conviction, you start to reprogram the way you think, act, and feel. You begin to lead yourself. You begin to live from your future, not your past. Start by changing your daily language. Instead of saying, "I hope it works out," say, "I'm building something that will work." Instead of saying, "I'm not good at that," say, "I'm learning fast." Don't tell people what's wrong. Tell them what's becoming right. Use your words to pull yourself forward. When someone asks how you're doing, speak with energy. Don't rehearse your struggle. Reinforce your progress. Words shape your focus, and focus shapes your behavior. That's why leaders speak differently. They speak possibilities. They speak with vision. They speak from a place of inner certainty. Even when everything around them looks uncertain, their words carry the weight of belief, and that belief is contagious. Now, this doesn't mean you ignore reality or pretend problems don't exist. It means you choose language that keeps you empowered instead of stuck. It means you become aware of the script you're living by. And if that script is outdated, you rewrite it. Speak to yourself the way you would speak to someone you're coaching toward greatness. Encourage yourself. Declare your standards. Say it out loud. Write it down. Repeat it daily. Let your environment hear the sound of your future voice. Speak the life you want until it starts to feel natural, because eventually it will. The world is already loud with doubt and negativity. Don't add to the noise. Be the voice that rises above it. Be the person who speaks life, vision, and growth. When you speak as if it's already happening, your actions follow. And when your actions follow, results aren't far behind. Speak wisely, speak boldly, and speak as if you've already become who you were always meant to be. Number 3, define your dream in detail. You can't chase what you haven't clearly defined. One of the biggest reasons people stay stuck for years is because they only have a vague idea of what they want. They say things like, "I want to be successful," or "I want to be rich," or "I want to be in shape." But they never go beyond the surface. They never take the time to sit down and ask, what does success actually look like for me? What does it feel like? What exactly am I aiming for? And by when? Until you define the destination, you'll keep wandering in circles. And that's not ambition. That's frustration in disguise. Clarity is power. And when you combine clarity with belief, your mind starts finding paths you couldn't see before. General goals create general results. But precise goals, they create momentum. Because once you know what you want, you can start moving with strategy, not just emotion. Look at Bruce Lee. He didn't just dream of being an actor or a martial artist. He wrote down exactly what he wanted to be: the highest paid Asian actor in America, to have worldwide fame, and to live a life of peace and prosperity with his family. He wrote it with conviction, dated it, and read it regularly. That wasn't just wishful thinking. It was focused intention. He turned that vision into his North Star. And even in the face of rejection, injuries, and racial barriers, he kept aiming at that exact target until his life caught up with what he had already defined. That's the principle. Define it so clearly that your mind knows where to go, and your behavior has no excuse to drift. When your vision is blurry, it's easy to get distracted. It's easy to settle. But when it's sharp, you start filtering your choices differently. You stop saying yes to everything and start aligning your time, energy, and money with what truly matters. So what do you want? Not someday. What do you want now? How much income? What kind of career? What kind of health? What kind of relationships? What city are you living in? What does your daily routine look like? How do you feel when you wake up? The more specific you get, the more powerful your mind becomes in pulling you toward it. And don't just think it, write it. Writing your goals is a declaration. It says, I'm not just dreaming, I'm committing. And when you revisit those goals daily, reading them, visualizing them, speaking them, you're programming your subconscious to seek out alignment. Suddenly, you notice opportunities that were invisible before. You hear ideas differently. You spot new pathways. That's not magic. It's focus. Clarity also reveals what needs to change. When you're clear about the goal, it becomes obvious what habits need to go, what distractions need to be cut, and what new skills need to be built. You stop wasting years learning by accident, and you start growing with direction. Remember, people don't just succeed by working hard, they succeed by working towards something specific. And the more vivid your vision is, the more resilient you become when things get tough. Because you're not just running away from struggle, you're running towards something meaningful. If you want your future to feel real, make it real in your mind first. Sit down, take the time. No distractions. Write your life with detail. Write it like it's already unfolding. Picture it in full color. Hear the sounds, feel the feelings, see the environment. Let it be so real in your mind that it starts pulling your actions forward. That's when things change. Not when you hope for success, but when you define it. So don't drift. Design. Don't just wish. Write. Don't wait for clarity to magically show up. Create it. Because the clearer your goal, the faster your progress. And when your mind knows exactly where you're going, every step you take starts to mean something. Number 4. Build systems like a pro. Already would. Success doesn't respond to random effort. It responds to organized effort. You don't build a great life by accident. You build it by structure. Too many people are chasing big dreams with sloppy habits. They want results like a professional, but operate like an amateur. The truth is, dreams don't come true because you want them to. They come true because you work a system that makes them possible. And if you want to act like you're already successful, then you have to start building systems like someone who already is. Think about any world-class performer, athlete, or entrepreneur. They all have routines, not just goals, but systems. Goals give you direction. Systems give you traction. It's what you do daily that determines what you become eventually. And if you want to know whether someone is serious about their future, don't ask about their vision. Ask about their calendar, because the structure of their day reveals the strength of their desire. Let me tell you about Calvin Reeds. You've probably never heard his name, but in the streets of Detroit, he was known as the Blueprint. Calvin started off as a janitor in a downtown manufacturing plant. He didn't have a college degree, no fancy title, and certainly no backing. But what he did have was a plan. He woke up early every morning and spent 45 minutes reading business books before his shift. During lunch, he'd review notes, write down ideas, and study market trends. At night, instead of watching TV, he'd work on his side project, a tool design he believed could revolutionize a common assembly line process. He structured every day like he was already a business owner. No one asked him to do it. No one was watching. But his routine said it all. This man was serious. Within 5 years, that tool design became a patented invention. Within 10, Calvin left the janitor's closet and walked into his own office, CEO of a company producing equipment for multiple manufacturing plants. How did it happen? Not by luck. By daily systems built with the mindset of someone who acted like he was already there. You see, systems do more than keep you organized. They change how you see yourself. When you block time on your calendar to learn, to build, to reflect, you're telling your mind, I'm a person of purpose. When you follow a morning routine that sharpens you, you're proving to yourself, I'm not just hoping for success, I'm living like it's coming. You don't have to overhaul your life in one day. Just start with what a professional version of you would do right now. Would they scroll through their phone for an hour every morning, or would they journal, exercise, or study something that moves them forward? Would they plan their week in advance or just hope for productivity? Would they review their goals daily or only think about them when life gets hard? The small systems you create become the foundation of your future. If you want to lead, block time to learn how. If you want to build wealth, create a budget and stick to it. If you want a better body, schedule your workouts like you'd schedule a business meeting. Success doesn't just come to the disciplined, it comes to the systemized. And when your systems match your goals, momentum builds. This isn't about being perfect, it's about being prepared. Even when life throws chaos at you, your systems keep you grounded. They're your structure when motivation fades. They're your anchor when doubt tries to creep in. And they remind you that you're not winging it, you're working it. So today, ask yourself this: if I were already living my dream, What would my routines look like? How would I structure my time, my energy, my effort? Then start now. Because the more your systems reflect your future, the faster your future becomes your present. Number 5, resilience. React like a champion in training. Life doesn't test your goals. It tests your resilience. It throws you challenges not to stop you, but to see how committed you really are. Every person who's achieved something meaningful has a story full of setbacks, delays, and disappointments. The difference is how they respond. Winners don't wait for perfect conditions. They rise through imperfect ones. They treat obstacles as training grounds, not as signs to quit. If you want to act like someone who's already successful, then you need to react like someone who's already been through the fire and come out stronger. One of the greatest examples of this kind of mental toughness is Pelé. Most people remember him as one of the greatest footballers of all time. But what many forget is where he came from and what he had to overcome to get there. Born into poverty in Brazil, he played barefoot on the streets with a sock filled with newspaper as a ball. He couldn't afford proper equipment, but that didn't stop him. He practiced day and night. His first major tournament, he was just a teenager, and he injured his knee. Most players would have sat it out. Not Pelé. He played through the pain, not recklessly, but with resolve. Throughout his career, he faced intense pressure, political conflict, media criticism, and expectations most of us could never imagine. And every time he got knocked down, literally or mentally, he got back up with more focus, more fire, more purpose. Pelé didn't just become a champion because of his skill. He became one because of his resilience. That's what separates those who dream from those who deliver. It's not about never falling. It's about how quickly and how powerfully you get back up. When something goes wrong, when the deal falls through, when the effort doesn't pay off immediately, what do? Complain, collapse, or recalibrate. Successful people treat setbacks as setups. They don't say, "Why me?" They say, "Try me." That doesn't mean they enjoy hardship, but they respect it. They understand that every challenge is shaping them into the kind of person who can carry success with strength. And that's what you need to remember. Your struggles are not punishments. They are preparation. If you want to act as if you're already successful, then you need to respond to failure like a pro in training. See it as feedback. See it as refinement. Every time something knocks you off course, use it as a lesson to get back on a better one. And don't let your emotions make long-term decisions. Just because you feel frustrated doesn't mean you're finished. Just because you feel stuck doesn't mean you failed. Start asking yourself new questions when difficulty hits. Not, "How bad is this?" but "What can I learn from this?" Not, "How much did I lose?" but "What strength did I gain?" These shifts in perspective are what build long-term resilience. Because let's be honest, motivation comes and goes. Excitement fades. But resilience, that's the part of you that keeps going when nothing else wants to. Your identity begins to change the moment you stop backing down from life's pressure. When you choose to persist, when you choose to rise, when you choose to keep showing up even when you're tired, uncertain, or afraid, that's when you prove to yourself what you're made of. So the next time life hits hard, and it will, don't shrink. Stand taller. Don't panic. Get focused. Respond like someone who's already played this game before. Like someone who's been through setbacks and still chose to win. Because every time you respond with resilience, you're not just surviving, you're strengthening. And that strength will carry you places motivation never could. Remember this, success doesn't avoid struggle, it overcomes it. And the ones who keep rising, no matter what, are the ones the world eventually calls champions. Be that person now. React like a champion in training, and one day you won't have to act at all. You'll simply be. Number 6. Show up with the energy of a winner. There's a certain kind of energy that winners carry long before the results arrive. It's not loud. It's not fake enthusiasm. It's not about trying to impress anyone. It's a quiet, focused, intentional energy that says, "I'm here for a reason." You can feel it when they walk into the room. You can hear it in the way they speak, and you can see it in how they handle even the smallest of tasks. That's not an accident. That's alignment. They show up every day like someone who has already won. And that energy is what starts to turn the tide in their favor. People underestimate the power of how they show up. They think energy is something you bring only when something big is happening. But that's backwards. Winners bring energy into every moment, big or small, because they know that the way you do the little things is the way you do everything. And when you consistently carry yourself with purpose and presence, doors begin to open, often without you even needing to knock. Let me tell you about Tina Marshall. She worked as a waitress in a small-town coffee shop in Ohio. No one outside that little diner knew her name, but every regular who came in felt her presence. She didn't just serve coffee, she served energy. She greeted every customer like they mattered, remembered their names, learned their orders, and made every interaction feel personal. She kept the place organized like she was running a five-star restaurant. She cleaned the counters with care. She refilled the condiments like it was a detail that deserved excellence. Why? Because in her mind, she wasn't just a waitress. She was a leader in training. She was already preparing for the business she would one day run. Her coworkers noticed. Her manager noticed. And eventually a customer did too. Someone who owned a chain of cafes in the next county. He saw her energy, her consistency, and her attitude, and offered her a management position. Years later, Tina runs multiple locations, trains staff, and still brings the same energy she had behind the counter on her very first day. That's the power of showing up like it matters. The truth is, people are always watching. Maybe not directly, maybe not today, but the right person, the right opportunity, the right moment is always looking for someone who takes what they do seriously, even when it seems small. Energy is your signature. It tells the world how you see yourself and what kind of future you're walking toward. If you show up sluggish, distracted, passive, what you're saying is, this moment doesn't matter. But if you show up alert, engaged, ready, you're saying, I'm preparing for something greater. That mindset shifts your performance. It lifts your posture. It sharpens your focus. And over time, it reshapes your life. So how do you bring that energy consistently? First, start your day with intention. Don't roll into the morning like you're surviving. Rise like you're on a mission. Get your body moving. Fuel your mind with something positive. Set a tone before the world sets it for you. Second, take pride in your effort, even if no one is watching. Especially if no one is watching. That's when character is built. That's when winners are formed. You don't need a crowd to bring your best. You just need a reason. And your future is reason enough. Third, speak and act like someone who belongs where they're headed. Don't wait for the promotion, the deal, the platform. Carry yourself like you're already worthy of it. That confidence, that energy, it draws attention, builds trust, and sparks momentum. Showing up with the energy of a winner doesn't mean you're never tired. It means you've trained yourself to lead with effort, regardless of how you feel. Because how you show up now determines where you end up next. Bring your energy every day, every time, every task, not for applause, but for alignment. And one day, the results will catch up with the energy you've been giving all along. Number 7. Surround yourself with giants. No one rises alone. Behind every story of personal transformation, there's a hidden network, a quiet council of influence. The truth is, you might have the drive, the discipline, and the desire to succeed. But if your environment is working against you, your progress will be slower than it should be. It's not just about what you do, it's also about who you're becoming by association. The people around you shape your standards, your language, your expectations, and even your belief in what's possible. You've probably heard the saying, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. It's true. If you're constantly surrounded by negativity, excuses, or people who settle for less, you'll start to adopt the same patterns without even realizing it. But when you're around individuals who think big, speak truth, and push forward, you rise. Your mindset sharpens. Your expectations increase. You begin to expand. One of the greatest examples of this principle was embodied in the life of Martin Luther King Jr. Yes, he was a visionary leader with unmatched courage. But behind his public strength was a private circle of giants, men like Benjamin Mays and Howard Thurman, who mentored him early in life. These were thinkers, preachers, and educators who saw potential in him before the world did. They didn't just give him wisdom, they gave him a mirror that reflected back his potential. Their presence challenged him to grow, refined his character, and sharpened his mission. Dr. King didn't surround himself with people who only told him what he wanted to hear. He chose to walk among those who held him to a higher standard. And that's the kind of circle you need. Not one that flatters you, but one that stretches you. Not one that tolerates mediocrity, but one that demands excellence. If you want to act like you're already successful, then look at your circle and ask, would the future version of me keep these same people close? Would a millionaire, a visionary, a world changer spend time with the same influences you're allowing in your space right now? You don't have to cut everyone off. But you do have to filter who gets access to your mind and your time. Limit your exposure to energy that drains you. Increase your exposure to energy that fuels you. Read books by people who think bigger. Listen to podcasts that challenge your habits. Join rooms where the conversations force you to grow. And above all, build relationships with those who see your potential and aren't afraid to call it out. Here's the truth. Most people ignore. If you want to attract high-level people into your life, you have to carry yourself like someone worth connecting with. You can't expect to rise if you don't behave like a riser. Speak with clarity. Show up with consistency. Be someone who adds value, who listens well, who brings enthusiasm to every interaction. The best relationships are built on contribution, not competition. And don't forget, you're also part of someone else's circle. That means your energy, your attitude, and your standards are influencing someone else's trajectory. So be the kind of person who sharpens others, who lifts the room, who leads by example. Because when you become that kind of influence, your circle doesn't just upgrade, you attract people who mirror the same mindset. In the end, your success will never just be about what you do alone. It will be shaped by the people who walk with you, speak into you, and believe in you when the road gets tough. Choose wisely. Build intentionally. Surround yourself with giants, and soon you'll start to think, speak, and lead like one too. Number 8, live like you're worthy of the opportunity. There's a quiet force that separates those who wait from those who rise. It's self-respect. When you carry yourself like someone worthy of success, opportunity begins to notice. This isn't about arrogance or pretending to be something you're not. It's about treating your goals, your time, and yourself like they matter. Because if you walk through life like you're not worthy, you'll keep shrinking away from moments that could elevate you. But when you start living like you belong in the room, even before you're officially invited, you start aligning your actions with the future you want. Success doesn't just respond to effort, it responds to identity. People often miss chances not because they lack skill, but because they lack belief in their own value. They step into the moment doubting their worth, and that hesitation speaks louder than any words. You have to decide, before the results show up, that you are already enough to deserve the next level. And that decision should echo in how you carry yourself. Jeremiah Brooks was a delivery driver in a small town in South Carolina. Every morning he showed up in pressed slacks and polished shoes. While most of his coworkers were casual and quiet, Jeremiah stood out. He shook hands firmly. He smiled with intention. He addressed customers by name. He carried every package like it was his business on the line. One day, a regional manager happened to be observing a delivery route. He noticed Jeremiah immediately, not because of his uniform, but because of his presence. He was impressed by the professionalism, the clarity, the quiet pride in how Jeremiah worked. That same manager offered him a training position 2 weeks later. Not because Jeremiah asked for it, but because he was already behaving like someone who should be promoted. That's the principle. When you live like you're worthy, opportunity doesn't feel like a surprise. It feels like a natural next step. You must remember, the way you carry yourself sets the tone for how others treat you. If you act like your dreams are negotiable, people will treat them that way. If you treat your time like it's not valuable, others will too. But if you start respecting your life, your standards, and your goals like they're sacred, the world around you begins to shift. So how do you live like you're worthy of the opportunity? First, dress for the part you're aiming for. Not to impress others, but to remind yourself of where you're going. Your appearance influences your mindset. When you look prepared, you act prepared. Second, speak with clarity. No more shrinking your voice to sound humble. Humility isn't silence. It's strength without arrogance. Own your words. Say what you mean. Be direct, respectful, and confident. Third, take yourself seriously. That doesn't mean you stop laughing or enjoying life. It means you show up with consistency. You show up when you said you would. You finish what you start. You stay sharp, even when no one is watching. That kind of discipline isn't about being watched. It's about being worthy. You might be in a small position now. That doesn't matter. What matters is how you treat that position. If you don't value where you are, you're not ready for where you want to go. The future isn't looking for people who wait to be chosen. It's looking for those who live like they've already been chosen. Jeremiah didn't wait for the perfect opportunity. He simply lived like he belonged in the next room. And because he did, that room opened. That's the mindset you need. Start living like the opportunity is already yours. Start treating your life like it matters. Start honoring your vision like it's already unfolding. Because when you do, you won't just attract success. You'll be ready for it. Number 9, decide boldly. Act quickly. There's a moment in every journey where dreaming must give way to doing. You've visualized the goal. You've clarified the vision. You've spoken with conviction and carried yourself with confidence. But none of it means anything if you don't move. Success is not reserved for the most talented. It rewards the most decisive. The people who rise fastest aren't always the smartest or the most connected. They're the ones who act while others are still hesitating. Opportunities rarely come with warning signs. They don't announce themselves or wait until you're perfectly ready. They appear suddenly, often in the middle of uncertainty. And in that moment, hesitation is the enemy. Because the longer you wait, the more space you give to doubt, fear, and second-guessing. Indecision kills more dreams than failure ever will. Look at the story of Amelia Earhart. She didn't wait for every condition to be ideal before attempting her flights. She didn't have a safety net or a promise of success. What she had was courage and a willingness to act boldly when others paused. She made decisions with conviction, even when the world doubted her. Her success wasn't just in her skills as a pilot. It was in her ability to move forward when the sky was unclear. She didn't sit back and wait to be chosen. She took off, literally and metaphorically. That same mindset applies to you. You don't need all the answers to make a move. You just need enough clarity to take the next step. Too many people wait for certainty, but certainty is built through action, not before it. You don't become confident by thinking about it. You build confidence by doing, by trying, by learning in real time. Every bold decision you make reinforces your belief. It sends a signal to your mind that you trust yourself. And when you trust yourself, momentum follows. It's like lighting a fire. The first spark may feel small, but once it catches, it spreads fast. That's how success works. One decision leads to the next. One bold step creates the next opportunity. But none of that can begin until you act. This doesn't mean you act recklessly. It means you act intentionally. You move forward with thought, but not fear. You make the call. You start the project. You send the message. You apply for the role. You speak up in the room. Because each of those actions builds the foundation of who you're becoming. Think about the last time you hesitated and what it cost you. Maybe it was a conversation you didn't have, a chance you didn't take, or a delay that led to someone else getting there first. Now imagine what could have happened if you had decided just a little faster, with just a little more belief. That's not a reason to regret. It's a reason to prepare. So the next time opportunity knocks, don't second guess. Open the door and walk through. Here's a habit to build. Practice small decisions daily. Don't let minor choices pile up and clog your momentum. Be someone who answers quickly, who moves with direction, who knows when to pause, but doesn't live in pause. The more you decide with strength, the more natural it becomes. And remember this, even if the decision turns out to be imperfect, you can always adjust. You can't steer a parked car. Movement is what gives you the power to course correct. But you have to start boldly. Now, Amelia didn't fly because she waited for someone to invite her to the sky. She flew because she believed she belonged in it. That's your invitation too. Start acting like the opportunity belongs to you, and make decisions like someone who's already in motion. Because when you move, life moves with you. Number 10, leave a trail that outlives you. The highest form of success isn't just what you achieve, it's what you leave behind. Real greatness isn't measured by titles, trophies, or temporary applause. It's measured by impact. It's about the people you lift, the minds you inspire, and the legacy you build through daily decisions. And here's the truth. You don't have to be rich or famous to leave a mark that lasts. You only have to live with purpose. Because the way you carry yourself, the effort you give, the energy you bring, it echoes beyond the moment. Too many people chase success for recognition. They want to be known. They want their name in lights. But the people who truly change the world aren't focused on fame. They're focused on doing the right thing, with consistency and character, whether anyone's watching or not. And because of that, they build something stronger than applause. They build legacy. Take the story of Jesse Owens. In 1936, while the world watched through a lens of prejudice and tension, Jesse stepped onto the Olympic track in Berlin. He didn't just win medals, he broke barriers. In front of an audience that wanted to prove racial superiority, Jesse Owens ran with grace, courage, and excellence. He didn't let the weight of politics or public doubt break his stride. He focused on what he could control: his preparation, his mindset, and his performance. He walked with quiet strength. He competed with dignity. And he changed history, not because he wanted to be a symbol, but because he refused to let fear dictate how he showed up. His performance echoed far beyond the race itself. It proved that character, courage, and consistency speak louder than hate. You might not be stepping into an Olympic stadium, but every day you are stepping into opportunities that can influence others. The way you lead your family, the way you speak to your team, the way you respond when things go wrong, all of it leaves a trail. And the question is, what kind of trail are you leaving? When you start living like your actions matter, you start to move with more integrity. You stop chasing shortcuts. You stop reacting emotionally to every delay or detour. You begin to think long-term. You ask, how will this choice shape my story? Who will it affect beyond me? That awareness matures you. It sharpens you. It elevates you. And don't wait for some perfect moment in the future to start thinking about your legacy. Begin now. You build your legacy with every email you send, every promise you keep, every time you decide to go the extra mile when no one asked you to. It's not the big moments that define you, it's the small ones, repeated with excellence. To act as if you're already successful means to act as if your name already carries weight. To carry yourself like a leader, even before you have the title. To serve with heart, to speak with clarity, to live with principle, not for credit, but because it's who you are. And here's something else. When you live with this mindset, you naturally attract better opportunities. Why? Because people trust those who operate with intention. They follow those who live with consistency. They remember those who lead with purpose. So today, ask yourself, what do I want to be remembered for? Not what will I accomplish, but how will I influence? Who will be better because I lived with vision, courage, and compassion? What kind of energy will I leave behind when I walk out of the room? Jesse Owens didn't set out to become a legend. He simply decided to show up like a man of purpose, and the world took notice. You can do the same. Live today as if your story is already being written in permanent ink. Let your presence speak of honor. Let your actions leave a trail of inspiration. And let your name be remembered not just for what you did, but for how you made people feel, grow, and believe. Because in the end, success fades, but impact, it echoes forever. The journey to success doesn't start when the world recognizes you. It starts the moment you recognize yourself. When you decide to think, speak, move, and live like the person you're becoming, not the person you've been. That's when the transformation begins. Acting as if is not about pretending, it's about preparing. It's about aligning your actions with your future identity so that life has no choice but to catch up. You've now seen what it looks like to walk with confidence before the applause, to speak your vision even when the evidence isn't there, to define your goals with clarity, to build systems like a professional, to stand strong in setbacks, to bring energy into every task, to surround yourself with the right people, to carry yourself with self-respect, to move boldly, and to live in a way that leaves a trail. These are not just motivational ideas, these are habits of the successful. These are the moves that separate those who wish from those who win. Understand this, success doesn't respond to waiting, it responds to action. You don't get what you want, you get what you're willing to become. And becoming isn't passive, it's a daily choice. A decision to show up like your future is already in motion. A decision to carry the weight of your dreams with discipline, belief, and commitment. So the question is, will you wait for permission? Or will you start living like someone who's already earned it? Your time is now, not when conditions are perfect, not when you feel 100% ready, but now when your belief is louder than your fear, now when your actions can shift the course of your future, now when the next step is yours to take. Don't just consume this message, become it, walk like it, speak like it, build like it, rise like it, because the person who acts like they're already successful often becomes the one who actually is. The world is watching, your future is waiting, and everything you need is already within you. All that's left is to act. Now go and act as if it's already yours, because it is.